All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Let's go ahead and see what happened today for Bitcoin. So, not too much from when we updated in the morning. We've had a lot of choppy price action this afternoon. So, not necessarily the best sign for the bulls. We would definitely want to see more of a recovery if we were going to be more on the bullish side. So when it comes to where we are on the daily time frame, we're kind of stuck within this smaller range for right now. We haven't even really been able to truly break 60 this afternoon, but we're technically in the 60,189 to 59,702 range. We had a really tough time getting above 59,702 more recently. We just got above it, but we were hovering below it for quite some time. Um, Taking a look at the 12 hour, not too much different here. One good thing is we did wipe out this double bottom that I was targeting, so that's a decent thing. But I believe there's another double bottom that formed more so on the smaller time frames. So if you take a look here, what I'm expecting is, we're probably going to get some sort of sensitivity on 60,189. That's going to be my next kind of resistance level since we broke 59,702. Um, and then above that, we obviously have to get back above 61,124. That was another resistance line. So there's quite a bit of levels that are key levels that we lost. Another thing right here is you can see, like, for example, even on the 4 hour, like we just kind of had a pump up. We didn't really have a wick to the downside, so that's not obviously always the best sign either. We did chop around for a really long time though, so this could close like this. That's not necessarily uncommon. We did have a wick down on the 8 hour, and we do have obviously this bigger candle is part of the 12 hours. So that's fine if this closes like this. It'd actually possibly give a chance for somebody to go long right here. I'm personally not going to do it because it's very, very high risk since we are still in bearish sentiment right now. Um, so if you take a look at our 1 hour, I mean, we just, got a candle above, this 59,702. We were chopping below it, basically making it act as resistance for a long time, basically for the past 6 hours before then, right? So we weren't able to get a candle to close above. So as long as this closes above within the next 9 minutes, it's a decent sign for the bulls. Obviously, still not the best, but it's a decent sign. Now, the one thing I will say is I do not believe, or I'm not truly buying that this is the bottom just yet. It very well could be, but it just doesn't seem like this price action is done. We haven't had a big enough move up to tell me that the bottom is in yet. This was a decent move. I mean, we've kind of had, what was this? This was about a 15, 14, $1,500 move back up. We wicked all the way up here, even above 60,000. Um, but it's just not showing the strength that it should be right now. And we're getting into the end of the week, which is extremely low volume. So I do think that there's a good possibility that this will come up a little bit more. Honestly, if I were to guess, I would probably say pull from this wick up here down to this wick. So we didn't really touch 60,619. I'd probably expect for this to be kind of your next bearish 786 right here. So let me put that on there. And then I don't know if there's not much of a difference, and we'll check this with liquidity as well, but probably, there's could be another area too, 60,973, almost 61,000 even. So we'll check both of those levels to see how that aligns with liquidity. Um, but like I said, guys, I don't think that personally that the bottom is in yet for the week. I'm expecting us to do a bottom tomorrow. Now, if we were to get up here, the only thing is that we kind of left a double bottom right here, so, or more than a double bottom, it's like a quadruple bottom, so I would expect this to get wiped out. Bullish case, in my opinion, would be that we maybe get a rejection off of this, but we kind of have to bounce off of either that 58,608. I wonder if I were to pull this higher, which one aligns with that wick right there. Yeah, none of them really do unless I get really high up here, but You know, we could possibly get a rejection off of the 200 MA on the 15. That is possible if we're going to keep pumping. Um, but I would expect more so something like this maybe. We come down here, we kind of wrecked all of this, the longs that went long here. And, you know, we come down to 58,608. But there's a chance that, you know, if we lose this 58,608, and I'll put this on the chart here, um, but if we lose that level, I mean, we got to be bearish, right? That's going to really take us down into the probably this 57,292 down here. So, anyways, guys, for right now, before looking at liquidity, and I'll do a side by side, but this is kind of where I'm seeing our levels at. Okay, so we got the 58,613, the of course 59,702 that we've been bashing against this afternoon. If we finally surpassed it, we have the 60,189, 60,622, and then 60,973. So this is all probable, resistance slash support zones, I would say, support lines. Um, so let's go ahead and let me basically pull up our liquidity map here. Let's take a look at our daily, and this time I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, kind of see where liquidity is at. So let's take a look and see, with all of these checked off, where we're at. Let me increase this here. Nah, too much. Something like this should be okay at about 17 million aggregation. So you can see we kind of started diving into this green area of liquidity here, this concentrate area. I don't see this being done yet. Like I said, I would be very surprised if we get a solid bounce from here, especially given also that we're nearing towards the end of the month. So whatever bounce that we're getting, I would basically be expecting a bear flag at this point until the macro trend changes. This to me, like this bottom right here, really is not bouncing off of a strong support zone. I did go back, take a look at the 2024 consolidation period, and it is technically kind of a support zone, only about two candles basically bounced off of it out of that whole period on the daily. So it's not a very strong support area, I would say. I don't trust it as being like, okay, this is the bottom for now for the rest of June. It very well could be, don't get me wrong, but I just personally, from my experience, I don't trust it. Especially since we just made that double bottom and then we just tore through it like it was nothing, right? So very wary right now of price action. If you are, longing, again, not financial advice with this, but I would say these aren't longs that you would want to hang on to, especially since we're going to be going into a new month, possibly dipping bearishly for the start of July, hopefully to make that wick for the month, and then moving on up. So one good thing I will say, guys, is that there's starting to be obviously a lot of liquidity up here, and if I were to zoom in, there's a lot more being formed, right? Even around 85,000. So that's on a positive note. We do have a lot building up here. So even to, well into the 140 range. So next next bull market will be a lot of fun. Going into the 4 hour. So the 4 hour, let's take a look and see. And I'm probably going to decrease my aggregation level here. Let's see. Yeah, this is good right about here. So as you can see, guys, we have some up here to 69,000. We could definitely, I don't think we'll take it this month. We could definitely probably take it next month, potentially. And then obviously if I uncheck all of these boxes, I'm probably going to decrease this even more here. Yeah, so you can see, I mean, we basically, even up to about 7 million orders on the zoomed out here, you can see we kind of took out the majority of the 25x. There's always going to be some, but we took out the majority of the pull to the downside. If I were to check off like the 10x, for example, there is still some more going down further. But it is a somewhat of a promising sign that we did take out majority of this, right? Obviously, we're starting to gain a lot more shorts above, so that's a really good sign. Again, like I said, for next month, we could easily come and take this out, maybe wipe out this double top right here. But I'm looking, for some of these double tops to get rated, basically. That's what I'm going to be looking for next month if it's going to be a bullish month, okay? Um, for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at the 1 hour and the 15 to see what's going to be happening this evening here. So, zooming in on price action, and that's when my trend indicator starts showing up here. So, really, guys, I mean, I would probably say short term, it's saying that we target 60,006, almost 60,007 maybe, which is right around where this first line is, amazingly enough, for the 100x. 50x targets that same area, so definitely think that this could be an area of strong resistance, 60,622. That's what the liquidity is showing, so some confluence there. This does tell us that we could potentially, if it wanted to move up to about 62,000, I don't see it happening this week. I see that more being a possibility next week, but hopefully we don't because I don't want July to pump off the bat. That means it's going to be another bearish month. So, more than likely at least. So I would like to see this being saved at least for like the second week of July up here. That would be a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable for the Bulls, right? Um, but as far as short-term price action, what to expect within the upcoming hours, I would say either a rejection here, as you can see off of 60,189 right now, or we get up into the 60,622 and get rejected. Um, we are quite, and we are quite a bit of ways, even like from the 21 crossing, the 5 minute, obviously the 10 minute, of course, and then even the 15. So that's going to take a lot of bullish consolidation in here to get these lines to come back down if we were going to do a move like that, okay? So not anything in the short term. And again, another thing that's very sketchy is the fact that, this is very low volume now. We don't have any more what we call Fed folders or Forex events happening for the rest of the week. So there's a very good chance that, we either slowly work our way up or we just fall from here, fall over. We just round it out and fall over. So I would not be expecting a major bounce unless we make our low on Friday, and then you could potentially look for a long timing wise, after we make our low for the week. Ideally, that would be like that 57. I was talking to you guys about 57.3. Um, so that's kind of what I'm seeing as far as the 1 hour goes. Let's dive into the 15-minute here. So as you can see too, guys, I mean, this is my trend indicator, right? And, you have both the hourly and the 4 hour at a -3, which is basically max bearish. So there's not really any, at least trading different doesn't show any promise right now to the upside. Obviously, anything can happen. This is about 75% accurate from when I watched the videos and read the documentation. So, it's fairly accurate, but don't just take this indicator's word for it, right? I mean, do your own research, use your own model with this, but it just doesn't look promising. It's like it kind of looks like a dead cat bounce to me here. Um, so, checking off some of this, what's interesting is there is a lot of liquidity building to the upside, which is, to be expected, right? Because a lot of people are still shorting this market. But zooming out, really, I mean, there's nothing to just get us back up here. You have this, which is 60,600. You don't really have a bridge to get back up after that. So it just kind of alludes to the fact that we take this out and then just fall. We don't have any bridge to get us up further, really. Um, that's what I'm seeing on the 15-minute, and then going into our actual scalping time frame, which is the 5. This does show a decent amount of potential. More liquidity zoomed in to the upside, obviously, if I were to really zoom in. 100x, it's showing that we're taking out this pool right now. So the job could be done for the evening. We don't know. Started diving to this yellow pool here. There is quite a bit up at 62, it looks like, and then further. So just kind of keep that in mind. Zooming out, it does show a different picture. I mean, this really zoomed out just shows we have this little bit down at 57, which aligns with my theory, right, of rolling over. So anyways, guys, I mean, just kind of keep that in mind. I really have to zoom in to see a lot more of this upside liquidity. It's not like there's a lot there. And if we compare like our order book here, let me take a look. Um, you have, gosh, you have one order up to around 61,000 of or 310 Bitcoin, but nothing really is to the upside. I mean, all of your orders are to the downside. That really tells you something right there. Like there's not a lot of upside potential right now, So just be wary of that. You can definitely catch longs in here, but just be cautious because this could literally turn on a dime at any given point, especially because we're at the end of the week now. So that is what I'm seeing so far in the market right now, guys. I'm going to go into one more indicator. That's going to be our simple map through trading different. And this is going to show us on a chart like graph here, what price action is doing or where our liquidity is. Um, I mean, you can see, what's really interesting here is there's not really a lot of 100x liquidity to the upside. There's more 50x, 25x, showing that there's more 50x, 25x shorts, which makes sense. But look at all of these, and mind you, I mean, cumulative longs is going to be your dollar amount, right? So we're not even talking even close to $1 million worth of price action until you get into like, 58,740, right? But look at all of these, 100x longs that are right below us, right? Just people just basically just full throttling, their account to the upside, right? Um, I will tell you that even though we're right against this volume barrier right here, there is a better chance that the 100x gets taken out first before the 50x, and the 25x and whatnot. It kind of goes down this list, right? So usually the 100x gets taken out first, then the 50, then the 25, then the 10. So with that being said, it's more obvious that this is easier to take out going to the downside, taking out this last $1,000, even though it doesn't provide that much dollar amount to the market makers. It still is more of a probable condition that this easier money to target right within the previous 1,000 range than taking some of this out. Um, so it kind of alludes to that this could just kind of fall, on the smaller time frames at least. The bigger time frames, like the swing time frames, I probably am going to have to zoom in even more here. You really don't have a lot of volume. You can see like even to the upside, 1.27 million cumulative shorts. You have 0.036 cumulative long, 0.15 cumulative long. It's like there's just not the volume there, to really dictate what's going to happen with price. I mean, obviously, like, you would think that on a swing time frame, the 4 hour or the daily, it would be easier to come up here and take some of this out. But, once you get into like the 57 range, I mean, look at this. This is like 34.9 million, 73.6 million, 160 million, 117 million. Like, coming up, you don't get that return. It makes more sense for them to go out to the downside rather than taking out this up here. So, anyways, guys, I'm seeing that we could get a potential bounce. Watch those areas that I was talking about. Your 60,189, your 60,622, 60,973. Watch those areas to see if, how price reacts to them. And, it's in order to get continuation for the bulls, you'd have to really see a lot more consolidation up here, and a lot more confidence from the bulls to make our move up. A lot more bull flags, just, a lot more bullish behavior to keep moving to the upside, which we're not seeing. We're seeing a lot of weakness right now. Just somewhat, some small moves up, but not enough to really write home about. Anyways, guys, that is what I'm seeing in the market for today. If you guys want trading different, highly, highly recommend it. It can help you with, identifying trend and, seeing where all of the liquidity is at. Feel free to use my code, Sean. So it's tradingdifferent.com/code/Sean. With that being said, guys, I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening and I will talk to you in the morning. Take care.